According to the New York Times and according to the Real World, yesterday the Supreme Court, let me rephrase that. Yesterday, 5 Christians on the Supreme Court, 5 really intense Christians, decided to throw people on the street. Now, this is not in keeping with what they claim to believe in. They claim that a radical Jew 2,000 years ago named Jesus of Nazareth, a revolutionary who decided to throw the Romans out of the he considered to be the Holy Land, and somehow he got designated to be the Son of God, the Messiah, so on and so on and so forth, thanks to Peter, one of the people who wrote about him years after he was dead. But the mythology about Jesus is that there were certain things that he said, certain things that he told his followers to do. Among them was to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, visit the people in prison, heal the sick, take care of people, because, as allegedly he said, as you do to the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you do it to me. And apparently the 5 Christians, I think 4 of the 5 are Catholic Christians, but according to their own religious belief, what they did yesterday was an abomination. What they did with their ruling, the 5 Christians, when they said essentially to people who are struggling to stay in their houses, their homes, their apartments, whatever, what they said to those people was, get your asses out. Get out. Now, this was an 8-page opinion. And according to the Times, that was an unusual move because the ruling came on an application for emergency relief, from the property owners. Emergency relief. And in those particular actions by the Supreme Court, when a request is made for emergency relief, the orders that are handed out by the court are usually more terse, a couple of sentences and a story. But this went on for 8 pages. So I guess the Christians on the Supreme Court wanted to make the case that they were goddamn determined to throw people on the street. To throw people on the street. This is unreal. And I'll get into the basis of the ruling here in just a second, but it's bullshit. Because this decision will put hundreds of thousands of people, put them at risk of losing their homes, their apartments, shelter, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of a goddamn 4th wave of a pandemic that is still killing thousands of people every single day. Jesus, huh? Christians, huh? You hypocritical bastards. I can't believe what people who claim to be followers of somebody who allegedly was all about peace and love and brotherhood and kissy face, and yet they just stomp on what he said. They just ignore it. They just pee on it. They just violate it. Now, part of the problem rests not just with the Supreme Court, although they're the ones that had the ultimate decision to make yesterday. But there are a bunch of bureaucratic delays at the state and local levels. And the delays are being caused by the Christian fascists on the state and local level, who have so far only released about $5 billion of the $46 billion in aid that had been authorized by Congress in one of the actions to help people during this pandemic. I really get angry sometimes. I guess you can tell. Now, this opinion, which was unsigned from the Supreme Court, the 5 Christian fascists on the Supreme Court didn't even have the courage, the decency to put their names on the goddamn thing. Can you blame them? But it said the CDC had exceeded its authority when the CDC was the one who ordered this moratorium. Now, the ruling or the opinion said in part this, quote, "The CDC has imposed a nationwide moratorium on evictions, relying on a decades-old statute that authorizes the CDC to implement measures like fumigation and pest extermination. It strains credulity to believe that this statute grants the CDC the sweeping authority that it asserts." So their argument with the CDC, their argument that formed the basis of their opinion, the way I read it, was not so much that the CDC exceeded its authority, because the CDC has the authority to fumigate living spaces, to exterminate pests, and to suspend rents while that process is occurring. The ruling by the Supreme Court Christian fascists, to my mind, just said in this particular case, because there's enormous amounts of money involved, it's all over. You people haven't paid your rent, get your asses out. Get out. Wow. Justice Stephen Breyer, who wrote for the three dissenting justices, found reason to fault his judicial brethren and sistren for their haste in making this ruling during what is obviously a public health crisis. This is what he said in part, quote, "These questions call for considered decision-making, informed by full briefing and argument. Their answers impact the health of millions. We should not set aside the CDC's eviction moratorium in this summary proceeding," end quote. So what Breyer was saying was simply, we should have a full hearing about this. This does not constitute an emergency order. I mean, what emergency? This has been going on for months now. The only emergency is a public health emergency, which the decision by the CDC would address by making sure that more people aren't all of a sudden homeless. But the majority, the five Christian fascists, said no. The issues were fully considered and a straightforward decision was made. Their opinion said this, quote, "It is indisputable that the public has a strong interest in combating the spread of the COVID-19 Delta variant. But our system does not permit agencies to act unlawfully, even in pursuit of desirable ends." End quote. Unbelievable. What's the line from? What's it from? One of the Shakespeare plays where it says the law is a ass. Yeah, a ass. I know, should be an ass. The law is a ass. This ruling by the five highest arbiters of justice in this country is an ass. It's an ass ruling. It's ridiculous. It's awful. It's going to cause people immense suffering. Our system does not permit agencies to act unlawfully, even in pursuit of desirable ends. Unlawfully? There is a breakdown in reality here, isn't there? All three of the filthy pig, slime, slob bastard Donald Trump's appointees made this happen. Donald Trump is the curse on this country that is going to continue and continue and continue. And this is just one example of it. The unbelievable situation that somebody as rotten, soulless, a real monstrous bastard like Donald Trump had an opening to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices, a third of the number of justices on that court, aided and abetted by the slimy Mitch McConnell. Well, here's one of the results. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.